And welcome to the Blue versus Green show. I am one of your hosts, Gabe, and I also have joining me Jose and Walt. What's up, fellas?
What's up? What's up? What's going on?
Right? Yeah,
Good evening, y'all.
What's up, brother? West side?
nothing
Side,
much, man.
side, side.
We are gathered here today to talk about that fateful day that has finally come. It's the schedule release for the upcoming NFL season, and I have to say, man, like the this schedule itself, the release and everything. I don't think that there has ever been a schedule release that has felt more of like an event or slash non-event, considering how much of the schedule got leaked before it actually was released. But it just felt like such an event, with all the drama surrounding Aaron Rodgers. It is the Aaron Rodgers show. No matter what team you follow, it's the Aaron Rodgers show for the next 12 months.
It is.
With that being said, let's get right into it. Why don't we go ahead and kind of give our initial first thoughts? I want to kind of hear from you guys what was the most striking thing that kind of came out of the schedule release for you guys, respective teams, or just general news and stuff. I definitely have some thoughts on the schedule release and like the some of the craziness that kind of came out of that day. But Walt, you want to go ahead and go first?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I think, like you said, one of the main things that was crazy about that is the amount of leaks that we got. I mean, especially with the Giants schedule. I was tweeting at you guys probably all day. I'm like, oh, by the way, this one just dropped. I think we had the entire Giants schedule leaked out by noontime of the day of release, which is a full 7 hours before the actual show. So for Giants fans, I think it felt more anticlimactic because literally by the time the event came, you knew everything that you needed to know. So I found that interesting. I also found out a lot of things interesting in terms of the road games for Big Blue. I found some of the things with the Giants schedule, the Jets schedule, that was fascinating. Um, but we'll get into a lot of that stuff a little bit later.
Jose, your thoughts?
Yeah. So I guess the most striking thing about the schedule that I saw, not related to strength of schedule, not related to particular teams that were being played or what weeks they were playing those teams, is not unsurprisingly, or the amount of primetime games that we're going to get to see from both of these teams. The Jets have week one Monday Night Football, right? They have two Sunday Night Football games, an additional Monday Night Football team for Monday Night Football game for a total of two. Six total games essentially Thursday Night Football, and just the amount of primetime games is striking for both teams. So especially when you're used to not being able to see the Jets on television very often. I'm in Atlanta most of the time, so when I want to support my Jets, there are very few options because of blackout restrictions and things like that. So to be able to catch a game, especially early in the season and late in the season, Jets game without having to jump over some hoops or go to a sports bar is going to be nice and refreshing. That's one of my takes.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting how many primetime games the two teams combined are going to have. As far as for me, like some of the most striking things that came out of the schedule release itself was uh, Black Friday and Christmas getting games. It's kind of crazy to me. The commercialization of these holidays is nothing new, especially Black Friday. Considering what some of it makes sense. Amazon is hosting the Black Friday game, so it makes sense that Amazon wants people to stay home to watch the game on Amazon Prime while we get ads to shop on whatever Black Friday or Cyber Monday deals we'll be getting during the game. I mean, what's the likelihood that we see something we're going to want to buy it while we're watching the game? I mean, it just makes total sense. What doesn't make sense to me is Christmas Day. I mean, it's, you know, Thanksgiving's already a holiday that a lot of these players and a lot of the staff and all the people that are involved in the NFL are not going to be able to spend with their family. But now we're also going to take Christmas Day. I don't necessarily agree with it, regardless of like faith and all that stuff. Yeah, you could say that, like, we don't have a number on how many people would be missing out on their own religious celebration and stuff like that. But it's just, I think that it's kind of crazy to have a game on Christmas Day, personally. So that's kind of like my main thing. As far as my main takeaway is not just the fact that we're getting so many primetime games, but the fact that we're also getting new primetime games on Black Friday and Christmas. That's kind of wild to me.
It
So,
is.
what do you guys feel
Yeah.
about that?
You hit
Like,
the nail on the head.
kind of looking forward to Black Friday game, just because, like, Black Friday is, I don't shop, I don't go anywhere anymore for Black Friday. I think the majority of mature adults don't do that anymore necessarily. We all buy everything on Amazon, so it's kind of cool to be able to watch it at home
Hmm.
on Christmas Day.
The only thing I would say is that being around MetLife around that time is going to be absolutely ridiculous, because they do have the American Dream Mall like right next door. So imagine Black Friday, you have not only a football game going on, but you've got all those shoppers in the vicinity. Traffic is going to be disgusting.
Yeah,
So,
imagine the amount of traffic of people trying to rush to get their game or TV or whatever it is before the game even starts.
oh my
That
gosh,
might even
I can't
cause
imagine it.
that might create even more badness. Now that I think about it, now you mention it.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the Black Friday
it's
game in New York. Yeah.
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 I mean,
Yeah.
I guess literally, the footballs ain't for Sunday anymore, because now we're talking about football on Monday, Tuesday. I mean, Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean,
That,
we're missing only Tuesday and Wednesday, to be
I
honest,
think,
to make it a
yeah, I
full
think that
7 day thing, right?
right, there's that other thing, no, Jose, where I think now we're gonna have multiple Thursday night games.
Multiple Thursday night games. Yeah.
I think there's gonna be
You
days where
have.
we have two Thursday night games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the case too. I mean, getting back to what you were saying, a Black Friday game sounds great from all kinds of perspectives. You said the Christmas game, that's concerning. It's awesome from a fan perspective to have something to watch on Christmas Day when you're home, but from a employee perspective, an NFL employee perspective, it's kind of crappy. But there's like a huge addition of days to watch games when it used to be kind of nice to have the simplicity of saying like football is on Sunday night and or Sunday all day and on Monday night, and those were like kind of to go off your religious references earlier, those were like sacred experiences, kind of,
Yeah,
right? Sunday
I think.
football, Monday night football, that's it. Thursday night football is adding a lot to it, and the Christmas or the Thanksgiving games, right? All of that.
I'm
But
I'm
Yeah.
I'm also gonna say one thing, which I'm a little annoyed at. Not for me personally, because I have off on Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving, but to do the game at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, you're making this. And the NFL is making this big leap that everybody's off. Not a lot of there are some people that will be off, but there's going to be a large section of the population that wants to watch this game, and they're stuck at work. I mean, I don't know, but
I
three
mean, even the
o'clock
retail
seems to
workers are going to
be
be stuck at work.
yeah. I mean, three o'clock seems to be a weird time to be
I
putting it
don't
on
know. Yeah,
putting
I
on.
don't know.
So I don't know about that, to be honest.
You might be
that
you can make the argument that because it's Amazon Prime that it's literally in every single person's browser.
So no
yeah.
work is going to get done on Friday, basically. Is that
For those 2 hours.
you know?
Well, it gives you enough time if you're not shopping from the website on Amazon to go somewhere after the game and purchase some of the fine products that were advertised on the Amazon Prime broadcast. You can go to the store right after and go ahead and buy it. You have enough time. The game ends at about 6. You can run right over and get whatever you need.
And just prepare yourself for
Nope.
the steady stream of Jack Ryan, Citadel, the
Oh,
wheel,
all the Prime
all
apps.
the show, all the
All the
Amazon
Prime
Prime
apps.
shows.
Yeah.
You are going to get hit over the head with that advertisement. So
Not for nothing
you
though.
know,
Now that I think about this, it actually sort of like imagine this,
and
right?
it's
Because
free,
almost
by the way.
every single Sunday night game, Monday night game, Thursday night game, it's always like catch the show live right after the game ends or blah blah blah. Now it's
That's
like
true.
watch any of these shows that you like. Oh, you happen to be a sci-fi guy, watch this. You happen to be a sports guy, watch this right after the show. It's just going to keep more people on the network essentially because
Yeah, no.
Prime is now a network essentially. So, and YouTube TV, it's going to be, I think, like the future is going to be Prime versus YouTube TV. So, but I do kind of want to get into the strength of schedule stuff. Okay, it's kind of surprising how the schedules were released. Essentially, I think I'm personally very surprised and slightly perturbed at the Giants specific schedule, but we're gonna get into that in a bit. But there's a reason why they're ranked, number 3 in the hardest, schedule of the season. I don't understand how Miami has the second worst schedule for the ski. I mean, the NFL must just really hate us. Philadelphia Eagles, they deserve it. They got the firepower to withstand that kind of schedule. But man, the straight like, how do you guys feel about like where you guys landed on the strength of schedule?
Well, I think it's an obvious consequence of the fact that the Jets are considered contenders in a way that they probably haven't been maybe ever.
Mm-hmm.
To be perfectly honest, it's the Aaron Rodgers effect, like you said. It's we're gonna get pretty nauseous about talking about Aaron Rodgers, even as Jets fans this season, and I think a lot of our fans are gonna get nauseous having to hear about that so damn often. But we're gonna have to get used to it, and this is definitely a consequence of that. The strength of schedule, um, and I think it's a challenge to this Jets team. It's a challenge to the Giants team as well. You guys are supposed to be building these great teams. You guys are supposed to be competing just like we are this next season because of a lot of the moves that you made and a lot of the progress you've made over the last couple of seasons. They're both in the biggest market in America. Can't forget about that, obviously. So all of that kind of, I think, affected the strength of schedule for both of these teams. And I mean, I think we have specifically the exact same strength of schedule, tied for 3, I think, behind the Eagles and the Dolphins.
I think we're
So,
6. We're 6.
oh yeah,
We're slightly below. It's the Giants that are tied for third with the
Yeah.
Patriots and the Cowboys. So you know
right.
what's really funny that as far as like the East Coast teams go, because very clearly it's all East Coast teams and stuff. This to me is also still the Aaron Rodgers effect. For me, it's like the NFL said, like, hey, let's cater to the Jets schedule because I feel like you guys got a little bit more of an even schedule when it comes to road versus home teams, for home games. And it was probably something like, well, in order to make this Jet schedule work, we need to kind of shuffle all the other surrounding East Coast, Northeast teams around. And being that we share a stadium, obviously the Giants kind of got the biggest shaft. What do you think about that, Walt?
Well, I do agree that the Giants' schedule is very tough, and so is the Jets. But I think it's more a consequence of the fact that um, these teams, the AFC East is playing the NFC East this year. The NFC East is playing the AFC East. Conversely,
Mhm.
that's the division that we got hit with this year, and it's a consequence of our teams being good because you look at the
Yeah,
AFC East, the strength of schedule, obviously because we're playing Buffalo twice, we're playing Miami twice, we're even playing the Patriots twice, who may or may not be as good this year as in past years, obviously with Brady, right? Um, the other thing is that conversely with the Giants, right? Um, you look at the Giants, and the Giants are playing in a division where you have the Dallas Cowboys. Good, bad, or indifferent, Dallas is always in the conversation in the playoffs, right? You've got your defending NFC East champion Eagles over there. Washington Commanders are going to be
Right.
better, right?
Absolutely.
So you have the consequence of playing in divisions that, you know, for the most part, will probably be the best divisions in football this year.
So let me
So
ask you though. Let me ask
so
you then though.
That's a
Why
big
is it
consequence
that
too.
we only have or that we have 3 home games out of our first 11?
well, no, but I know, but if we're talking about just strength of schedule right now, I think that's the issue that you have. The schedule is a whole different other animal, right?
Wait, you don't think that
Um,
being that it's on the road, it doesn't factor into their equation as far as like I mean, whoever creates the strength of schedule chart, I wonder. I mean, I'm assuming that like
well, it's based
because
on
it's on the road, it has
no, it's based really on
Mm,
last year's records. That's all
I
it
think
is,
it.
you know.
I think if you look at it though, like if you want to break it down as opposed not necessarily by strength of schedule, but by the breakdown of home versus road games,
Right.
you can look at it in the way of this is kind of arbitrary, but you can look at it in the sense of like, how do you want to build momentum for your team? Do you want to build it in the early part of the season or the late part of the season? Because 5 of your last 7 games are at home, including your last game against the Eagles. So that's to me kind of a huge advantage going to the playoffs. If you think about it, as long as you've fought really hard through, which is what is admittedly a really tough stretch and a tough
yeah.
schedule,
I mean,
you
yeah,
can you can kind of get into the end and build great momentum against your division rival. And the Jets kind of the same, although we have to do it in New England because we play the Patriots on the last game of the season. So and most of our games are on the road. The last 2 are on the road, and 3 of the last 4 games for the Jets are on the road.
I will say this before we
So
move on
sorry,
from
I think my
strength of
screen is doing
schedule.
some weird flipping there.
Yeah,
Apologies.
you're flipping all over the
you're
place.
Yeah,
sideways, Jose. You're sideways.
I'm gonna say one more thing about the strength of
technical
schedule before we
difficulties.
move on. And this is I looked at this in the vein of just the Jets because I am a Jets fan, right? The interesting thing is that you look at the rivals that the Jets are gonna have to face this year to get that one of the 7 seeds in the East, right? In the AFC. And you look at the Steelers, you look at the Jags, you look at the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Ravens, the Titans. Their strength of schedule is not that hard. And so, you know, a lot of these teams here made the playoffs last year. You're going to fully expect that they're going to make the playoffs this year again. So someone is going to have to drop off this list. Now, if you're
Right,
looking at
right.
strength of schedule, that makes the Jets and Miami's path and the Bills and the Patriots path very, very difficult because not only are you trying to get over the KCs of the world and the Cincinnatis of the world, but you're doing it with a schedule that is infinitely harder than theirs. So, I that's the thing that really popped out when I looked at the strength of schedule list is how difficult it's going to be for at least the AFC teams. They're literally going to be beating each other up this entire season.
Well, now we're about to kind of go down through the schedule through the actual week by week games of each of the teams. But before we do, I do want to ask you guys individually, what is the one game out of the entire schedule that you guys are looking forward to? Let's go to you, Jose.
One game out of the entire schedule
Yeah,
for the Jets and the Giants, or just for the Jets?
Jets. Out of both schedules, there's only one game that I'm interested in.
Out of the Jets. Okay. So the game that I am most looking forward to, I got to say, I would say the Bills. We start off against them. It's a great challenge early on. We beat them last year, though, so that kind of is a hump that we've already gotten over, that we've proven our team can get over, even without Aaron Rodgers. What I want to see is Week 4 against the Chiefs.
Boy,
Sunday Night Football.
Yep, absolutely.
Big game, huge game against the defending Super Bowl champs, against one of the quarterbacks, the great quarterbacks that's going out as a Hall of Famer, as a legend into the twilight, and arguably the face of the league now in terms of quarterbacks in the
The first
home.
time they face each other, no?
I think so, actually, also. So that adds all the more. I think I actually saw that as well. So that adds all the more like magic to this game. It's a huge game. We don't have to win that game. We have to prove that we could hang in that game. And then next week we should have an easier time of it with the Broncos. So we can put a lot into it against the Chiefs and hopefully win that game and hopefully build some momentum in the following week with a win against the Broncos.
You know what's kind of interesting now that you mentioned the Bills and stuff, and that it's Monday Night
Mm-hmm.
Football. Very
Mm-hmm.
clearly, the NFL is like, we're going to drag this Aaron Rodgers thing out just a little bit more. They're going to play the last opening weekend game. You got all the games on Sunday, and then the very last one that we're going to see is going to be Aaron Rodgers across the nation. So that's kind of interesting to see.
It's very clear that there is an Aaron Rodgers effect, because if I don't know if you listened to the interview with Mike North, he's the VP of NFL broadcast planning. The Jets, just solely based on their 2022 performance, was already automatically going to get 2 to 3 primetime games. That he mentioned that, and he said that's exactly what it's going to be. But you add Aaron Rodgers, and that upped the ante significantly for the NFL. And so that's why you have, those 6, primetime games and stuff, So clearly Aaron Rodgers does have an effect, not only in terms of fan base, not only in terms of moving tickets, but the NFL was very, very cognizant of the fact that Aaron Rodgers is coming to New York, and they made it a priority to get him as many eyes as possible in terms of the NFL schedule. So,
well, for me, there's really only one game that I'm super, super interested in, and it's a game that is a travesty that it did not happen, that it's not happening on September 11th, and that's against the Jets. I want to know who the king of New York is going to be. I want to know who's going to reign supreme as number 8 over here in this city. Okay, that I cannot believe that this game isn't happening on 9/11. Instead, that honor goes to Aaron Rodgers, NFL's new, primetime baby, along with the Bills,
darling.
Along with the Bills, which they're no offense to the Bills, they are from New York. I love all my peoples from upstate New York, but upstate New York is basically Canada. They don't count. How do we not get 9/11? And on top of that, if you think about this, how does both New York teams competing against each other not automatically get primetime slot? How do we not get a Monday night or Thursday night or Sunday night? It's kind of crazy to me, because if you think about it, the like every single New York football fan is going to watch it anyway, regardless. How do you not get the rest of the country to watch that game too? So
maybe the rest of the country
is opportunity on two ends, on the fact that as New York football fans that were affected by 9/11, we don't get to we don't get the chance to honor 9/11 as football fans, which I know that there's a lot of outcry over trying to commercialize 9/11 or whatever. I don't see it that way. I see it as a kind of a remembrance of in that time, for those of you guys that are not in New York or maybe weren't around there in that time, time was frozen, a lot like the blip, as I like to call the pandemic shutdown. Time was frozen for a lot of us, and returning back to sports, baseball, football, and everything just kind of gave us a little bit of sense of normalcy in a time that was so chaotic. And I think that having the chance to represent that when 9/11 happens to fall on a football day is great. And as long as it's done in a classy manner, which I'm sure that the NFL will do, I think it's amazing. And I think it's a complete travesty that we don't get to partake in that, considering that we are going to play each other anyway. So,
let me ask you this question, and I'm gonna take it from a different perspective, right? Mm-hmm. Jets Giants week 1 would, it being 9/11 would have been fantastic, but from a competition side of things, week 1, you're still trying to work out the kinks, especially when you're bringing in new players, right. New teams, new coaches, and things of that nature.
Yes.
Don't you think that there is some value that we don't see you guys until week 8? Because
no,
I think
not.
that could be a more just value-wise in terms of play, maybe that is a more competitive game than throwing it on week 1.
No, and the reason I say that is because you guys aren't in my division. So why do I need to care about working out kinks and stuff like that better on before I face you guys when you guys aren't in my division? If anything, I
That's
want
true.
to put the guys to the test against, a tried and true quarterback, a team that does have weapons at every single level in both sides of the field, as early as possible, and work out the kinks from there before I face a division rival. So if anything, the Jets provide to me like the best competitive little brother before I play my actual rival. So that's the way that I look at it. And I think, again, like from a sports fan perspective, from a New York town event perspective, and even from a competitive perspective, I would rather face you guys early on. And maybe the NFL is just worried that DJ is going to take over the town a little bit too early from Rodgers. That's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. Don't get mad at me for stating facts. If DJ, think about this. Let's put this.
Where's
No,
the facts there?
No, it's a fact. It's a fact that the opinion of Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback and a Jets quarterback as a whole would be very drastically impacted if DJ beats Aaron Rodgers game 1.
I don't think so.
Really? Because I would be like, well, he might be good, but he ain't the top dog in New York.
Rodgers has had 18 years of experience to kind of downplay that. He's won against everybody, and I'm pretty sure he's lost games against everybody. So I don't think there's anything with that.
He's never had to come in and defend the flag of a country, of a state. You know what I mean? Anyway,
that just sounds like a salty Giants fan right there.
Let me put it this way. Can I jump in? I'm going to put it this way, if I may. First of all, nice burn that you had to slip in there. On the Jets fandom, we are nobody's little brother. If anything, we're the slightly weird cousin. You don't let me finish. We're the slightly weird cousin. If anything, we're nobody's little brother. But second of all, the more important point is really that I think you're putting too much into that first game, that one game. That's something that I've done before in the past. If Aaron Rodgers loses to somebody week 1, nobody said the Jets were going to go 17-0 on their path to the Super Bowl. He's going to lose some games, like Walter said. He's beaten everybody. He's lost to just about everybody except for Mahomes, which is why that game is going to be freaking awesome. It's week 1. I was more concerned, like I said earlier, I am more concerned about like building momentum either in the early part of the season or the late part of the season. And that's the difference between the Giants and the Jets schedules, I think.
Right. I understand that. I just say that because it's a very, very unique thing that we have 2 New York sports teams in football that share the exact stadium. Like, this is just unique to these 2 teams in all sports, period. I don't know of any sport that has 2 teams that play for the same city, share the same stadium in opposite divisions. Like, this is like, it's a division on
the same sport. Yeah.
This is like its own division. You have the AFC, you have the NFC, and then you have which is the better team of between the 2 New York teams. But I digress. Why don't we go ahead and get into the week by week schedules? I'd like to kind of go in week by week and get your thoughts on the win loss. It's extremely too early, way too early to truly have a legitimate prediction, but it's kind of a little bit of a fun exercise, to kind of like get our thoughts on what we think is going to happen as a team stands right now, considering we know little of any of the draft picks that we've gotten and stuff, and there's so much time before preseason starts, but it'd be just kind of fun. And I will also kind of, how would I do this? How about each of us kind of keep our own record for the teams, and we'll kind of figure out what we think the win-loss record is going to be for the season. Yeah?
All right. Which one are we doing? Are we doing Jets or Giants first?
Are we doing a coin toss?
Oh, okay. Let's do the coin toss. All right, it's Giants heads.
Giants is heads.
All right. And it's going to be heads. So,
my man,
there it is.
Go. Already taking the first win of the season.
All right.
All right. So, okay. All right. Week 1, we got the Cowboys. What do you guys think?
Cowboys on Sunday night. That's
Cowboys on Sunday night. America's team.
Yep. At home for the Giants.
Yes.
I think that's a win.
That's a win. What about you, Jose?
I'm going to go the win.
All right.
You could beat the Cowboys. I think that they haven't improved very much.
Okay. I mean, considering that last year, I think the Cowboys was a bit tough. But yeah, I'm gonna go for a win. I think that we are gonna have such a reinvigorated team, much closer team, and it's gonna be a dope opening, game for our season. All right, week 2, Cardinals.
If you're looking at me,
I think y'all are
no, we're gonna go through the exact same thing. I'll go more Jose than myself.
All right, so
being that I'm the sole Giant, I'm gonna reserve my opinion for the end.
So for me, the Giants, this is the first of their brutal road schedule, the first 10 games, and they're heading out to Arizona. They're meeting up with Kyler Murray, and I believe that the Giants will start the season at 2-0.
Jose, what's that gasp? You have a gasp, or are you or are you frozen? Actually,
no.
Oh
no. I am I freezing? Oh, all right.
You're good to go.
All right. So okay. I think actually that this is going to be a Giants loss. I think they are a better team than the Cardinals. I think that you can. Cardinals. I think I off of the week 1 the Cowboys stumble into week 2. But happens in week 3, building off of that. What do you think?
Well, as far as the Cardinals go, I do think that Kyler Murray is going to suffer another defeat, or at least a defeat by DJ's hands in the Giants. Personally, I just don't think that the Kyler Murray really is gelling too well. So we'll see. Of course, this is why these predictions are ridiculous to have this early, but I still think it's going to be, a win for the Cardinals. Not 49ers. The biggest question with the 49ers is who's actually starting for the 49ers.
Exactly. That's the thing that colors my my prediction here. The Giants have the luxury. Actually, no, I'm sorry, they don't. They are flying from Arizona to San Francisco and playing a game 4 days later because this is a Thursday night game. They're going up against the Niners. Now, the question, like you said, is who's starting? Is it going to be Brock Purdy? Is it going to be Sam Darnold? I look at the way that, this is kind of shaping up here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be interesting how they, how this all shakes out. But you know what? I gotta give the Giants a loss, not only because they're gonna be going up against that great 49er defense, but they're gonna be doing it with 4 days rest. And so I'm gonna give the Giants their first loss of the season right here, week 3, against the San Francisco 49ers.
And Jose?
Well, like y'all said, it's going to be really tough to make a decision here as to who's going to win this game when you're not really sure who the quarterback is going to be for the 49ers. But that said, last season, during the regular season, at least, it seemed to matter who the hell the quarterback for the 49ers was. So, unfortunately, because of the 49ers' elite defense, I think that this is going to be a tough third game and another loss for the Giants in week 3.
For myself, I also think that it's going to be a loss, primarily just because I think that there's a lot of there are, when it comes to the who's going to be starting for the 49ers. But yeah, I just think that like the 49ers got a great system, right? If the system is what holds and what's the biggest thing about the 49ers, then it really doesn't matter who the quarterback is, as a lot of people have said. Walt, you've said it yourself. So it almost seems like the quarterback is essentially kind of a plug and play quarterback. So I'm not too sure if that's true, but this season, I think, will test that theory. Okay. So, now following that, we got the Seahawks at home, Monday Night Football. Geno Smith, my man, got a new fresh contract, a legitimate contract now this time. What do you guys think?
Wow. Okay. Seahawks. This is what, a Monday night game at home at MetLife for the New York Football Giants against
New York Football
the
Giants,
New
baby.
York Football Giants. I'm gonna give them a win here. I think that the loss is for the 49ers is something that they're gonna shake off very quickly. I don't believe that there's going to be any letdown from that. They're going to come into MetLife. They're going to be in front of their fans. Geno Smith is coming back to New York, not against the Jets, but against the Giants. And I think that stadium is going to be rocking. I really do. I think the fervor for the Giants fans. This is going to be their third win of the season. For me, put a win in the win column for the Giants against the Seahawks.
And what about you, Jose?
Okay, so I think that what we're going to have happen here is that this is where the Giants are going to start to build some of the momentum and start to show what kind of team they are. The Seahawks are a tough team. Geno is a tough quarterback. I think he's going to have another good season. I don't think it's going to be as good as this one was. He has some more weapons, though. They got a little bit better on offense to give him a little bit of help. And I think the Giants are going to pick themselves up after losing a couple of games in a row. And they're going to win this game against the Seahawks. And they're going to win this game on Monday Night Football.
I think that they're going to win this game also. I think that Geno Smith and the Seahawks might have had, kind of like I think about it more of like the New York Knicks 2 seasons ago, not this season, not the previous season, but the season before that, the one that was kind of like a where the heck did they come from kind of season. But I don't know if they're going to be able to replicate it now that people are not surprised by Geno Smith anymore. So I give this a big giant W for us. So now following that, we got Dolphins. This is another road game. So we came back for one little pit stop at home, and now we got another, I think, 4 or 5 road game, thing going on. So
the Dolphins again is a very interesting thing for me, and it has to do with the quarterback. Is Tua going to be healthy? Is it going to be Mike White? Is Mike White going to be healthy? One of the things that I never understood in terms of the offseason was the Dolphins signing Mike White when they had an injury-prone quarterback that was ahead of him. You sign another injury-prone quarterback. I'd never understood that. If Tua is playing, I say that this is a loss for the Giants because you're in Miami, and I'm gonna think that that's the way it's gonna go. So I'm gonna give a loss here for the Giants against the Dolphins in Miami.
Interesting, Jose.
Well, like I said a moment ago, I thought that the Seahawks game on Monday Night Football was where they're going to start building some momentum. I think this is where you're going to have a little bit of a show me what you can do game for the Giants. But I think they're going to win this one. I think they're going to show us what they can do, and that what they can do is legitimately good, and that they're a legitimate contender. And I think that, honestly, regardless of whether or not Tua plays this game, I think that the Giants are going to match up well, and I think that they're going to win this game.
You know what? I also think that there's going to be a win. I think that it's primarily going to be a win because I think that like the offense, I feel like the team didn't really change that much aside from us getting some key pieces and some key support that we needed. So I think that this is just going to be an extension of the end of last season, and the team is just going to gel even better. So that being said, it does depend on who shows up as far as what Tua shows up, as far as the Dolphins go. But I still,
Mhm.
it might be a little bit of fandom bias, but I really, really have a lot of belief that we're going to be a little bit more steadier as a ship than the Dolphins. So, but now we go from all the way down south to up north as we can go with the Bills, and this time it's a Sunday night football in their house. So, what do you guys think?
Well, I know you're not gonna like me for this, but I'm gonna give the Giants their third loss in 4 games here at Orchard Park against the defending and AFC East champion Bills. I just think the Bills are one of the top contenders for the Super Bowl, and I think the Giants are just going to be a little they they're going to keep it a close game, but I think Josh Allen is going to pull it out at the end. So I got them losing this game. They're on a 3 out of 4 game losing streak on my end.
Okay, Jose.
Okay, so I said they were going to build some momentum, but let's slow down a little bit here. The Bills are, you could argue this a little bit with a little bit more nuance, but they're a better version of the Dolphins. Um, and I think that after what's going to be a tough game against the Dolphins, even though y'all are going to pull that one out, you're not going to be able to do that against the Bills. And I think it's going to be competitive. You're going to remain a team that's going to show up and show people what you're made of. But I think this is going to be a loss, and this will put you all at 500
Well,
on my record.
that's an interesting thing that you say that the Bills are a little bit better than the Dolphins, because I think the Giants are just a better version of the Bills, especially with Shane and Dable in, with their project DJ, who was very similar to Josh Allen and who last season proved that he kind of flipped the script. Okay, now Josh Allen is what DJ was to us a couple seasons ago. So that being said, I think that when you have the core of the Bills now over here at the Giants, as far as staffing goes, that we take the edge. Now, that being said, it is going to be at Bills' home, so there is that factor, depending on how we do on the road. But I think that this is going to be a win, and we are going to be 5-1. Okay, now,
That's interesting.
now.
Oh, only two words make a
Well,
difference for
yeah,
me between those two teams. Tyreek
we
Hill.
started the season super hot last year, so I'm not. It's not that crazy.
No, I agree.
And now
So
we go to Washington Commanders.
that's a win. Come on. I mean, look at it this way. You've got Sam freaking Howell as your quarterback, as your starting quarterback over there in Washington. That team is in disarray. They're in the process of having the team sold because of a highly toxic owner. I don't give any credence to the fact. I think the Commanders are going to be a tough out just because of that defense. That defense is really, really good, but Giants, Commanders, come on, that's a win.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
crazy because they actually have like a pretty tough strength of schedule. They're like number 6, I think. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're number 8. They're
mhm.
number 8 strength of schedule wise. It's like
That's
almost
that.
like
That's
kicking a
that.
man while he's down.
Yeah,
So
that's that NFC East factor right there.
yeah, yeah.
So
Jose, Washington Commanders. I mean, I think we're all probably going to be in agreement here.
That's a win. It's a win. That's more building. Enough said. No further comment.
No more comment then. So all right, this is the one that I am
It's
really really
obvious.
interested to hear what your thoughts are here on, and I need the most unbiased opinion. Okay, go.
it's a tie.
Oh, come
That
on.
way, I still hold that friendship with you, Gabe. Right? It's a tie. No, in all honesty, you look at the Jets. I this is me personally, and this is not me being biased. I just truly believe that the Jets have a better roster than the Giants do right now. You look at the defense that the Jets have. That Jets defense was top 5 last year. I think they have the opportunity to be even better this year, only for the simple fact that and again, we go back to the Aaron Rodgers effect, right? Aaron Rodgers is going to keep that offense on the field a lot longer than Zach Wilson, Mike White, Chris Streveler, and Joe Flacco did last year, which means that's going to be a fresher defense. That means that's going to be a more ferocious pass rush. I think Daniel Jones may be running for his life. That's something that he does very well, though. So I do believe that this is going to be a close game. I wouldn't be surprised if we're looking at 14-10, but I do believe that the Jets are going to pull this one out.
Jose, biased host number 2.
Most unbiased opinion. My that I can possibly give. I would love to give your team a win on this one, but as much as I think that we're on a somewhat equal footing, defense wins football games, and our defense is among the best in the league and probably even better than it was last year, not the least of which our secondary is one of the most shut down secondaries, again, if not the most shut down secondary in the league. You don't want to face Gardner, you don't want to face Reed. Couple that with the fact that your wide receiver room is one of the youngest and one of the weakest in the NFL. It's just a fact. I'm sorry. That's the truth. Like Walt said, DJ is going to be running for his life this game, and it's going to be a Jets win. But like Walt said, it's probably going to be pretty close. So I think this is going to be a test. It's going to be hard for us to stop DJ running around like a maniac, regardless of how tough it's going to be for him to find weapons to throw to. The X factor, of course, being Barkley, Saquon. But I don't think he's going to win that game for y'all.
Well, here's where I come in, and I am going to level the playing field a little bit here. All right, by trimming down the grass a little bit and following along with you guys, because I do think it's going to be a loss. I think that it's a little bit hard because I don't think that we have necessarily everything that we need to beat Aaron Rodgers, that defense and everything. This is also why I don't even consider this a home game. It's supposed to be a Giants home game, but with Aaron Rodgers again, Aaron Rodgers effect. That stadium, that crowd is going to be bumping for Aaron Rodgers. I think that it would be great if we could somehow get discounted tickets by saying that we're Giants fans and stuff and getting in there before any Jets fans can buy tickets. But
hey, can I say something real quick? Yeah. So that I've been looking at ticket prices. I've been looking at tickets for both Jets and Giants stuff. We do have tickets to go see the Jets Giants in preseason, right? But I was specifically looking at this week 8 game to see if we can go to that one. Right now, the cheap seats, the ones where you're ducking from the airplanes, right? Those are going for at least $200. So,
oh my gosh! I mean, I'm down even for the cheap seats, man. I'm down.
This is the Aaron Rodgers effect in full force, because I can tell you, last year I went to a game and I spent a grand total of $30 on a seat.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
So, aftermarket is going crazy right now. I'm hoping that, the closer that we get to it, it'll kind of die down and stuff. But $200, the cheap seats in MetLife for that game.
I did think that the first 8 games are going to be the most important games for the Giants specifically. So let's really quickly run through the rest of the squad over here, the rest of the schedule rather, and just give me a quick win-loss so we can get to the Jets. Raiders, Walt and Jose. Walt first.
Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't believe in him over at the Raiders. I think that's a win for the Giants.
All right, Jose.
I actually believe, unfortunately, that the Raiders are going to have one of their better games this week, and you're going to be handed another loss. But don't worry. I think the narrative might change pretty soon.
I personally think that it's going to be another win. I don't have any belief in the Raiders, and I think Garoppolo at this point in his career is probably just kind of collecting a check. So now going on to the Cowboys. Well,
All right. I gave you the win Sunday night, week 1. I'm giving you the loss here. I think you split the season series with the Cowboys, and I think it's going to be a home and home victories for both teams. So
And Jose.
I think the Cowboys are going to have an absolute mess of a season this coming year. And
Not
I think
bad.
they're going to have, I don't think they're going to have a good season. I think I think a lot of what's going on with the Cowboys is not just on the field, but in the back office. And I think that's always kind of been an issue there, but that's something that we don't have to get into now for lack of time. I'm going to make you happy by telling you that I think that you're going to beat the Cowboys twice, both at home and away in this coming season. You're going to dominate them.
That's very interesting because I actually think it's going to be a loss. I do also think that we're going to split it. I think this late in the season, I'm already, not that I'm wishing anything at all, but we are going to be a little bit banged up considering how heavy our front end of the schedule is going to be. So I can't imagine that we're going to go into the second and back half of the schedule super healthy. So I think that, an away game against the Cowboys in a more than likely not fully healthy team is going to be rough. So, but what's not going to be rough, in my opinion, is the Washington Commanders. I'm going to give that one an easy win, just as easy as the first one. Walt, Jose, you guys?
I think this is where you're going to be happy with the way I'm going to be judging these games, because I think you guys do sweep the Commanders, and I think this is the start of where you've already gone through the rough part of your schedule. This is where you start now really solidifying your playoff push. So, season sweep of the Commanders.
Yep. Yep. Short comment on this one. I think, after beating the Cowboys, you're going to look up and you're going to see the Eagles and you're going to see their record maybe a game or two ahead of you. And this is when you're going to put your foot on the gas. You're going to stomp the Commanders because you have a lot of great winnable games here at the end of the season. But this is another win.
I think it's actually going to be a win, yeah. But then the following game with the Patriots, I think this Patriots game is going to be tough. Mainly because, again, I think that before the bye, like our bye being on week 13, which is great, because it's a little bit later in the season, allows us to kind of recover a little bit. But again, I think that by week 12 we're going to be a little bit banged up, and going against the Patriots, and Bill Belichick, I don't know. I just, as much as I want to, shove a foot up his ass, I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like it's going to be a little bit tough. I think we're going to need the bye week to recover a little bit and gather ourselves up again and kind of go from there. So we get the week 13 bye, and then after that we come back the Packers at home, Monday Night Football. I think the Packers is going to be an easy victory, to be honest. The Packers are in complete disarray. They're in rebuild mode, unless Love comes out there looking like the next Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that the Packers are going to have a good season at all. And facing the Giants at home on Monday Night Football after a bye week, I think it's a disaster for the Packers. What do you guys think about that game?
Well, I still got to tell you about the Patriots game.
Oh, shoot. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. I think the Patriots are going to surprise you in the fact that they're not going to be that good this year. I don't think that Mac Jones is a good quarterback. I think the Giants win this one, and I think the Giants win this one going away. Week 13, I don't think the Giants are going to lose.
You mean 14? 14.
No, I'm talking about 13. I don't think they're going to lose.
Week.
I know. I think they're not going to lose.
Oh my God, you asshole!
Yeah,
but I do
Patriots.
I do think they're going to lose against the Packers. So I think the Packers. That's
really
going to be an interesting game.
Interesting. Jose.
All right, going through those two. I also think the Patriots are going to be a bad team this season. Bill Belichick makes young quarterbacks see ghosts. Daniel Jones is up to the challenge. He's a gritty young quarterback. He's going to smash the Patriots, and y'all should have a great game against the Patriots. And thank you from Jets fans for destroying them in this game. The Packers game, I think y'all are going to win that also. Packers are another team that's kind of in disarray, both on the field and in the back office. And I don't think that this young quarterback the Packers have, Jordan Love, is going to do too well in his first season. I think he's going to struggle, and I think this is going to be a game where they're going to lose to the Giants.
All right, moving on from the Packers, we got the Saints. We also got the rest of the schedule. We might as well just talk about the rest of the schedule right off the bat. I think the Saints is going to be kind of a difficult game to play. I think it'll be. I think that's going to be a loss. And then we got the Eagles, Rams, and Eagles again. I think the back end of the schedule is going to be quite tough. I only see us coming out with the Rams and the Eagle as a win. So we're going to split the last 4 games 2-2 personally. I think we lose against the Eagles because that's going to be in Philly on Christmas Day. But then we go to the Rams, who's also another organization that's in disarray. I think we beat them. Plus, it's going to be towards the end of the season. I don't think that the Eagles are going to be out of the playoffs, so they're probably going to be playing all their bench players in this game, which will give us the likelier chance of winning that game. So I do think it's going to be 2-2. So what do you guys think about the rest of the season over here with the Saints, 2 times with the Eagles and the Rams?
I will give you the Saints. I will give you the Rams. I don't think the Rams are any good. I think the Saints are better,
marching in,
but not great. The Eagles Christmas, that's a loss for me. I'm really struggling with that week 18 game because there's a part of me that thinks that they're going to rest their starters, but I also think there's a part of me that thinks that if the Giants are on the cusp, it would be cathartic for the Eagles to knock you guys out. So I don't know if they're gonna rest them. I'm gonna, just for posterity's sake, I'm gonna give them a win on that. But that's a really tough one for me.
Really interesting.
It really is,
Jose.
Okay, so we're going, let's see here. Last 4 games of this season, the Saints for me are another win for the Giants. They're absolutely going to win that game. The Saints are not a good organization. They're not going to be any better this year by much of a stretch, just like last year. That's an easy win for me. That Christmas Day game in Philadelphia against the Eagles is where a little bit of this momentum that you've had is going to stop. You've won 5 straight at this point on my schedule. You are going to lose to them in Philadelphia. The Rams are another team that's not going to give you guys much of a challenge. Week 17 against the Rams, you should win pretty much outright again, even near the end of the season. Banged up team, injured team, tired team. The Rams are just not a quality team, so you should beat up on them, like I said. And I talked about momentum building at different times of the season. I think you guys, because of your schedule, are going to build a lot of momentum by the end of the season. I think you're going to win this game. And to Walter's point, I don't think the Eagles are going to be resting their starters for this game because I think they're going to look up and see that y'all already have 10 wins, which is going to be competing for the division. I think that will be some competition there. And yeah, you're going to win that game, that final game of the season against the Eagles for an 11-6 record for me.
That's pretty amazing. Actually, I come down to an 11-6 record as well. Where did you land, Walt, on the Giants?
I am with the Giants improving by 1 win this year. I have them at 10-8, and I believe Jose has them at
10-7. The bye week doesn't count. You can't count the bye week as a win.
Huh?
Can't count the bye week.
10-7. Yes. I'm sorry. I am sorry. You are absolutely right.
All right.
I have them at 10-7.
I think that's a really solid season. I think that's a really good prediction from all of us. Even though we kind of got there on different ways, I'd be super okay with 10-8, 10-8, 10-7,
11-6.
So, moving on to the Jets. Let's pull up the schedule. Walt, let's give us the graphic.
All right, here we go.
All right. Oh my gosh, you guys got a bye week of course you guys got the 7th bye week. I was like, oh, let's just make sure, just in case Aaron Rodgers is injured, let's or getting close to being hurt, let's give him a break.
Yeah.
All right. I am going to start it off this time, and I'll let you guys kind of who wants to be the last call on this.
I could go last this time.
All right. So
Yeah.
Monday Night Football against the Bills. I think that is going to be an absolute win for you guys. I don't think that there's any chance that the Bills come into your apartment. It's my house. You guys are renting an apartment from me, okay, at MetLife. I don't think they come into your humble abode and take a win from you guys on opening week. Now, I do think that there is the asterisk of like how quickly can Aaron Rodgers gel with this team week 1. So I think preseason is going to be a big telling, and I think this first game is probably the most important game of the entire season for you guys. So, Jose?
I still think that Chiefs game is one of the more important games. I think this game is a W still for the Jets for some of the reasons you listed. They're not going to come into our house or whatever your apartment that you're renting out to us and steal a game away from us on Monday Night Football, especially when the narrative for the Bills the last couple of seasons has been, and for their quarterback especially, they kind of wither when the lights get a little too bright. Monday Night Football, first game of the season, pretty bright lights against Aaron Rodgers and a Jets team that people expect to perform. I think the Jets are going to perform this week, and I think Aaron Rodgers, Monday Night Football, he's going to perform.
Walt?
I'm shaky with this one. I look at the Bills. I look at the Bills that is coming into a game. Von Miller is probably not going to play that game. They're going to have a couple of guys dinged up as their starters. I look at Aaron Rodgers. I wonder if he's going to have enough time to gel. The good thing is that he has Nathaniel Hackett, so he knows the offense. But will the young receivers of the Jets catch up? I'm going to very, very cautiously put this in the win column. I wouldn't be surprised if this comes down to a field goal at the end of the game.
Okay. Moving on, week 2. Aaron Rodgers gets his first away game against the Cowboys. I personally think it's going to be a win. I think this is going to be a relatively easy win. I don't think the Cowboys are as well-rounded as the Jets already are. And the only thing that the Jets were missing was a good quarterback. So, and you guys got Rodgers. So, Jose?
That next game against the Cowboys, I think, again, the Cowboys are going to have a rough season. I think this is going to be the start of that downward spiral for them, these first 2 games where they lose to y'all and then they lose to us. So New York is going to do some damage to poor Texas in the first 2 weeks of the season. This is a W for the Jets.
That's got to suck, actually, like where they're going to come all the way over here, then they got to fly back to Texas, then they got to come back over here again.
It's true. It's one of those quirks of the schedule. I also think that this is a win, but I think this is also going to be a litmus test for the Jets offensive line. I look at that Cowboy front 7, particularly with Michael Parsons, and if that offensive line isn't working, Michael Parsons can wreck a game. But I'm going to have faith that the offensive line is going to be there. I'm hoping that Becton is going to look as good as he does right now in the offseason. So I'm going to chalk that up as a win. Jets are 2-0 to start the season.
All right, and now you guys got Patriots at home. I think this is a loss. I think that this is a loss because I think that this will be the first time that that Aaron Rodgers will not be ready for the Belichick effect, which is Belichick against the Jets. I feel like Bill Belichick against the Jets is very, very different. I don't know what it is about Bill Belichick. I don't know why he hates you guys so much. But I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be like, kind of like, it's all lackadaisical. And then he's going to realize, man, this guy, he really hates you guys. And I think this is going to be a loss. I mainly because I think that Bill Belichick is going to pour every single bit of heart and soul into game planning around Aaron Rodgers. So,
Okay.
Yeah, this is going to be another easy win for the Jets. You can game plan for Aaron Rodgers all you want. If you don't have a defensive line and some linebackers to rush at the man, you can't do a thing. Again, game planning goes pretty far for Belichick a lot, but Aaron Rodgers is not a young quarterback. He's not Zach Wilson or um, anyone like that gets spooked easily by strange defensive schemes. This is a win. It's a win.
All right. Aaron Rodgers in his career against Bill Belichick, 2-2. Last year, there was a lot made about the Jets losing 13 straight games to the Patriots. This is a game that the Jets have had circled since that 9-6 loss. I think that I'm sorry. Since that loss, what was it? The punt return touchdown, right?
I don't know. It's your history.
Yeah, so. It was the punt return touchdown with no time left. This is a game that the Jets have circled since last year. They are not going to be losing 14 straight to the Patriots. This is a win. This is a win that's going to hurt Bill Belichick.
I mean, personally, I hope that it does. I really, really hope that it does. But I just something in me just says that, like, the Patriots are going to be coming in. This is the healthiest part of their season. It's the first 3 games. They're going to be. I think the third game is always the most telling game in any football season. I think because by the third game you should be pretty gelled, and you're probably still going to be relatively healthy. So I don't know.
I just don't think that roster matches up with the Jets at all. And to be honest, we should have won both games last year.
I know I was just going to say that. I don't think your roster matched up at all last year either. But
I know, but
again, that's why
we were a quarterback away last year, though. Yeah. That's a big difference.
Right, but that's why I call it the Belichick effect,
Yeah, but you look at that; those were the infamous games where Zach Wilson kind of melted down after, especially that that second game. That's the one where he started talking about how he it's not his fault. That's where he lost the team.
Right.
All
right, so let's move on to the Chiefs now. So again, at home, you lucky bastards. Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs. I think this one's going to be a loss.
Okay.
I think that the teams match up well, and I think that Mahomes is just going to continue being Mahomes. So I do think that this is going to be a loss. I think that the Jets, Aaron Rodgers, and the Jets are going to do really, really well in the second half. Just kind of preface it. I'm not trying to just give losses out just to give losses out, but I do think that Mahomes is going to. I think this is going to be. I think a shootout, and that's where I think that the Jets may not be able to keep up with it. I think Aaron Rodgers can keep up with, Mahomes, but I don't know that the Jets have the ability to play a shootout, so as a whole, so obviously I think it's going to be a very pivotal game for the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. It's going to kind of tell, like, hey, can you keep up with me, or not? But I do think that Mahomes will edge this one out with probably a field goal.
Okay, so I said this game was going to be a huge test, and I have to agree. Unfortunately, I don't want to say we're going to outright fail this test, but we are going to lose this game. I think we're going to pass this test by competing against the Chiefs, by competing against Mahomes. I think we're going to be, because of the unique fashion of our defense, the fact that we have a lot of athletic, fast young players, a great secondary, that next man up mentality that we match up remarkably well against the Chiefs. So I think we're going to give Mahomes one of the toughest times that he's seen in recent memory, but we're going to lose this game ultimately. So that's going to be their first loss of the season.
The Chiefs is going to be the litmus test for the Jets. Quite frankly, this is going to be the game that tells us whether the Jets are ready for prime time or they're not. And I think it's a great. This is going to be a fun little game, to be quite honest. Gabe has the Jets at 2-2 at this point, I I'm not mad at that because I can totally see that happening.
Yeah.
I do think the Jets will lose this game. I don't think it's going to be a shutout because you have to remember the
Or a
Chiefs lost.
shootout.
Yeah,
No,
I
no, I
don't
didn't
think
think
it
I didn't
will.
say shutout. I
No,
said shootout. A
shootout.
shootout.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think
Shootout.
it's going to be a
Yeah.
shootout because you got to look at this. The Chiefs lost their number one receiver in Marquez Valdez Scanling. They're down. They have a bunch of unproven receivers there. Now, of course, you're talking about Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes elevates everybody. And just as we have an Aaron Rodgers effect, there you better damn well be sure that there's a Patrick Mahomes effect, and that usually happens in the fourth quarter, late in games. I think they are going to pull this game out. It's not going to be a shootout, but it's going to be a close game. At the end of the day, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes winning. So for me, the Jets are 3-1 going into the Broncos game.
All right. Well, speaking of the Broncos game, you got the Broncos. I think that was going to be an easy win, to be honest with you. I'm curious to know what Aaron Rodgers' record is against the Broncos, but I do feel like that's going to be a win for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
Jets country, let's ride. We're gonna beat the hell out of the Broncos in this week.
Thank you.
And unfortunately, like this is gonna be a game where after competing with the Chiefs the prior week, going 3-1 into this week, we're gonna stomp the Broncos and we're gonna prove that we can beat the teams that we should beat quite handily and that we can compete in this week. This is a W for the Jets.
Okay.
Well,
Just so that you wanted to know, Aaron Rodgers is 2-1 against the Broncos in his career. I agree with Jose. This is going to be a dress down by Aaron Rodgers because he's going to protect and back up his boy Nathaniel Hackett. Remember, Nathaniel Hackett was the head coach of the Broncos last year. Very, very much a disaster for him, and Aaron Rodgers is going to lay the smack down in Denver. So I got them winning this game.
now you guys have the Eagles right before your bye week, and that's going to be over here at home. What do you guys think about the Eagles? I personally think it's going to be a win. I think that I think that you guys have all the tools to beat the Eagles, and I actually thinking back on it, there's going to be another game that's going to be kind of like the Chiefs. If I think that you'll lose against the Chiefs, I think that you'll see what adjustments you need to make and use those adjustments against the Eagles.
So in this game against the Eagles, I think unfortunately we're not going to do the Blue any favors. I think we're going to lose this game. Now the Eagles have an absolutely brutal schedule if you look at it. And you look at the strength schedule graphic that we had up earlier. Their schedule is absolutely brutal. This is going to be them trying to find their footing semi early in the season. They played the Rams, I think, the prior week, and the Commanders the week before that. And then they're going to get into a stretch of nightmarish games pretty much after that. So they're going to look at this as a must win. They're a tough team. I think that they're actually going to pull out the win on this one. So this is a loss for the Jets.
I kind of agree here. I think the Jets. I think this is going to be a fantastic game. This is a game that I'm going to love because this is a game where the defenses are going to take over. The problem that I have with this is that the Jets are going to be coming from Mile High Stadium the week before. Everybody knows how difficult it is to play in Denver. Even though they're going to destroy Denver, I think there's going to be a little bit of lag coming from Denver to go and play against the Eagles. And the Eagles, hey, they were the NFC champions. I think the Jets lose this game.
That's really interesting because actually coming back from Denver is when you actually perform best. It's playing in Denver is really hard, so getting up there and getting yourself acclimated is very difficult. Coming back is usually literally a breath of fresh air. It's like, oh my God, I have so much more oxygen.
Denver was a nightmare for us last season because that was the game where we lost both AVT and Breece Hall. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Playing at Denver is going to be tough. So it depends on how healthy you guys come out. All right,
yeah,
so you guys
exactly.
got week 7 bye, and then you guys got to travel this is gonna be it's on the road. You were down in Philly, but now you guys got to travel back to New York
Up
to
the I-95.
up to I-95 to face it. We already spoke about Big Blue, but any other comments you guys want? I mean, I had said that you guys are gonna win this game, so that's another W for you guys. So any extra comments?
Yeah,
Again, we can talk
we're
about like
gonna
the fact that
paint
like I don't think
MetLife
it's really a
green.
road game. So
We're gonna paint MetLife green that day. I know it's gonna start out blue, but by the end of the game, there's only gonna be green in the stands. So
Jose,
Yeah,
any other
we already
comments?
talked about it. We already talked about it. It's a W for the Jets. It's going to be a hyper competitive game. It's going to be,
it is.
for lack of a better term, a fucking awesome game. And there's going to be a lot of shit talking amongst the
Yeah, we
squad
have to go. Like
that week.
I will buy
Hey,
the ticket. I need it. We need to go. We
hey,
need to go.
any over unders on the amount of fights after the game?
I mean, that depends. That honestly depends. I think that there will only be fights if it's like a Aaron Rodgers blowout, and then you're just gonna have like so many because Jet fans by far. I think Jet fans talk so much more crap than Giant fans.
Oh, I disagree with that
No, they
100%.
talk so
I
much shit.
disagree
Oh
about
my god, dude.
100%.
Our video footage from last week actually quite proves the opposite, because the only person with heavily negative things to say about the opposite fan base was a Giants fan. All of the Jets fans were quite effusive in their praise for the
That's
Giants
because,
amongst those clips,
that's only
and
because the Jets
happy
right now
to
are
see a
really in a
Jets
happy
Giants Super
place.
Bowl.
They're so happy they got Aaron Rodgers, but then once they actually put that into action, they're just gonna be basically like spitting down on the Giants. It's like you see, this is our house, blah blah blah, and forget about it. So,
Listen. All I'm
anyway,
gonna say is we're not Philly. So you know what?
green,
We
you
we
wear
don't
green.
we don't we don't we don't roll like that. Us fans, we don't roll like Philly.
All right, so
Philly's nasty. So
Philly
whatever.
is nasty. All right, so we have now, like I said, I think that the first 8 games are going to be the most telling 8 games of either team. So let's move on to the schedule. We'll start like why don't we start kind of calling the next 3 teams together? You guys have Chargers at home, Monday Night Football, followed by the Raiders and the Bills away. Uh, I think the Chargers are going to be a very easy win. I think the Raiders are going to be an easy win. I think the Bills might pose a little bit of a problem because you're going to be going up there and sort of it's now the midsection of the season. I'm accounting for some turbulence, so to speak, when it comes to the health of the team and so on. So for Chargers, Raiders, and Bills, I got you guys winning, and then losing against the Bills. What do you think?
All right.
Jose.
Same deal. Chargers are a tough team. It's going to be Monday Night Football, and they're a talented squad. That said, it's a win again for the Jets. I think we're a better team here, and Aaron Rodgers, under the bright lights of Monday Night Football, is going to pull this one out. I think it's going to be a relatively close game, actually, though, probably closer than we might expect. When it comes to the Raiders, I think we're going to do what I had mentioned that I don't think y'all will be able to accomplish. The Giants won't be able to beat the Raiders this season. I think that the Jets will. Basically, you're going to fail to beat them in week 9, and we're going to succeed in week 10. And as far as the Bills, they're going to want their revenge after that first game. And like you said, traveling up north to that stadium, traveling to Canada to play these games is going to be tough on the Jets. They're going to lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
So win-win loss, same thing.
I'm gonna echo that. I think the Chargers. I don't believe in that team. I think that team is very talented, but I don't think that team does anything with that talent. So I think that's a Jet win. Raiders. Well, we've already spoken about the Raiders. I think that's a win for the Jets. Also, I think the Bills, similar to the Giants and the Eagles, I think they're going to split their games. And I think this is the one where home and home again. Jets win at MetLife. Bills win at Arrowhead. Not Arrowhead. What the hell is the Bills Park?
I don't know.
Orchard Park.
Toronto?
Orchard Park. Is it Orchard Park?
I don't know.
Did they
Montreal.
change it? I don't know. All
Calgary.
these naming conventions with these stadiums, I have no idea.
Antarctica.
Up in Canada somewhere, they're gonna lose that game.
All right, so here's what's really, really interesting. I was laughing like as soon as I was done with my take on the last three games and gave it over to Jose. I look up and I start looking at the rest of the schedule, and I just chuckled because this has to look like the easiest schedule I've ever seen by a team. I mean,
Yep.
like I don't think that there's a shot in hell that you guys lose any game in the last 7 games. This is crazy, but I think that you guys are going
Any
to
game.
know in the last 7. This is, I mean, look, it's you got Dolphins, Falcons, Texans, and Dolphins again. I don't think that you guys are going to be able to like lose. I don't think you can lose those 4 games even if you tried, and then you follow that up by the Commanders and the Browns, and then the last game of the season is going to be against the Patriots, which I definitely, even though I thought that the Patriots would, I think Belichick would eke out that first game. I don't think that at the end of the season that there's any shot that the Patriots win that game. The only thing I can say is that there is that 65% clause in Aaron Rodgers' contract. It is very possible, I think, that Aaron Rodgers gets you guys enough wins already at this point to make the playoffs. And then it's possible the last 3 games are played by Zach Wilson.
Okay. So you lost me here. What are your predictions for these games? Because
All
you just
wins.
took a whole
All wins.
swath.
7-0.
You
All
took the
wins. Like
whole
it's just
thing
leaving
and
to
just
talk
went
about each team.
zoom. You know what I'm
Like what's
saying?
there to talk about with the Falcons, the Texans, and even the Browns? There's
What is that?
literally
One,
nothing to talk
two,
about.
three, four, five,
It's
six,
7.
seven games
After
in
we
one
lose to the
shot.
Bills, he's talking about a 7-game winning streak.
Yeah. Again, only with the caveat that that's if Aaron Rodgers plays all those games, I think we win. I think that like if because at that point you guys are going to be what is it? You guys are going to be 10 and on my record, you guys are going to be 10-3
Six
at
and
that point.
4, 6
No,
and
listen.
So
4. Or,
With this final
oh wow, yeah,
total,
yeah,
Gabe has the Jets going 14-3.
yeah,
right.
I actually I got you guys.
Wow.
That's if Aaron Rodgers plays every game. That's the thing, though. I'm
Okay,
not 100% sure. I think he may only play 65% of the season.
Wow. Okay. All right.
okay. I'll bite. I'll bite.
Wow.
I don't think it really is going to matter too much whether he plays a lot of these late games. I am mostly inclined to agree with you. This is one of the things that I noted about this. I wrote down on my notes for this episode that, dear Lord, our final few games are such a stretch of winnable road games that it's kind of ridiculous. That said, I think that the last loss that the Jets are gonna have this season will be in Week 12 against the Dolphins
On
in New
Black
York.
Friday? Really? You think
In
so?
New York, I believe that they're going to lose this game because of the absolute brawl they're going to have with Bills the prior week. I think that the Dolphins have one of the things that the Jets addressed this year, but that like can give them some problems with matchups, which is blistering speed. That's trouble for the Jets sometimes. We'll see how they cover that up this season. But I think that that's going to be the last loss that the Jets face. They're going to beat the Falcons. Enough said. They're going to beat the Texans. Enough said. I believe that they will avenge that loss week 15 in Miami. They're going to rectify that loss. They're going to come back a lot fresher after 2 big wins. They're going to be 9-4, I think, at that point when they face the Dolphins the second time around, or 8-4, I believe. And then after that, they'll beat the Commanders. They will beat the Browns. And then we have our final boss battle before the season ends. And we will, yes, sir, we will sweep the Patriots this year. We're going to make up for that huge string of losses by beating the holy hell out of the Patriots and beating them twice. And I think that puts me at a 13-4 season for the Jets, one off of your total.
And Walt.
Oh boy. Okay. I think the Dolphins is a win. I do
You
believe
think both of
that.
them?
No, I don't.
Oh,
I think
oh,
I think they lose week 15.
okay.
Mhm.
Because I do believe that they, and again, this all is all about Tua. If Tua is there, he presents matchup problems and whatnot. But I do believe that they will split it if Tua is playing both games. If they're not, then obviously they're both Jet wins. Falcons. I'm sorry, who is it? BJ Robinson or BJ Robinson? He's over there. I don't think he's going to be a factor. I'm not scared of Desmond Ritter, so that there goes that. The Texans, Will Levis, nah, I'll pass. That's a win. The Commanders, obviously, that's a win. The Browns is an interesting game, Thursday Night Football, because
I agree.
The Browns, you're getting Deshaun Watson year 2. He is not going to be as bad as he was last year. And if we remember, Deshaun Watson was a very, very capable, close to being an all-star quarterback, all-pro quarterback for that team. So I still am going to give them the win there. And of course, the Patriots. Fuck the Patriots. They lose that game. The Jets are gonna win. So I also have them at 13-4, just like Jose.
Yeah, Belichick, you want to fuck us over in the draft? We're gonna fuck you over in the season.
That's
really
right.
badly.
We are actually not that far off. Then I just have them one game better than you guys have. So
I
it's
am
not
actually
that
surprised
crazy.
by that.
This is gonna be. I think that this is gonna be a phenomenal football season for New York. I really, really can't wait. We've definitely gone quite over our limit that we wanted to stick to. But it's
It is what it
time
is.
flies when you're having fun, right? So
Indeed.
all right. So I guess that's it. Let's kind of call it. Yeah. I don't know when's the next time that we're going to be specifically recording. But that's been our thoughts on the schedule. Once again, if you guys have made it all the way to the end, thank you guys so much for banging it out with us over here. We have all the buttons in the bottom or somewhere around the video that you're watching, or somewhere on your phone if you're listening to this. Please like, rate, share, subscribe, comment, DM, hit us up. We hope that we keep the best possible show that we can for you guys. And if there's anything that you guys would like us to see or do or change or whatever it is, please let us know so we can kind of make that happen. Once again, for the team over here, thank you guys, and go Jets
and go Giants.
Yeah, go Giants.
Got him to say it.
Whatever.
You say go Jets.
Yeah, I know, but my toes
mutually assured destruction.
My toes were crossed.
Mutually assured destruction.
Peace.
All right.
Let's have a good season, y'all.